Hi, everybody. I'm Kathleen Byram, and this is Spirituality with Donkey, a nightly thing that I do to express my feelings about spirituality. Today, what we're going to do is I have a bunch of questions that I am going to go through, and I have not seen the questions yet. I am going to read the question aloud for the first time in front of you, and then you are going to get my knee-jerk response, my true gut response from it, instead of something that I have practiced and come up with. How does that sound? Does that interest you? Here we go. Mental illness and spirituality. How the two come together and how they meet and things like that. These have been asked about my own personal experiences. I am not a clinician or any kind of person that knows about psychology or mental illness or things like that from a clinical point of view. Do not use my advice if you have any question whatsoever about whether it's good or not. I am not a professional. Okay, here we go. Here's the first question. How have I personally learned to tell the difference between feeling spiritually expanded and just feeling overwhelmed or ungrounded? Wow. Spiritually expanded? What's the difference between feeling spiritually expanded and just feeling overwhelmed or ungrounded? They don't seem to overlap to me. I'm afraid this is a bad question for me to have been asked first, because I don't understand the question, I'm afraid. If I felt spiritually expanded, that would be a wonderful, positive, fabulous thing. I can't imagine feeling also overwhelmed or ungrounded because of it. So that's got to be my answer. I'm afraid it's not a very satisfying one. Here's the next one. What times in my life have I caught myself using spiritual talk to avoid dealing with my actual feelings? And what did I learn from that? Using spiritual talk to avoid dealing with my actual feelings. Oh, no. I don't avoid dealing with my feelings. That doesn't happen. You've heard me yap. You know that I am quite the yapper. And I don't avoid feelings. I am constantly digging down inside, digging deeper just to throw it away. That's a song by Linkin Park that I really like. It might have a little bit to do with what I'm talking about in some ways. But yeah, I don't do that. I don't cover up my actual feelings with spiritual talk. Here's another question. When I'm feeling stuck in a dark place, what has actually helped me more, reading spiritual books or just doing the mundane earthly stuff like sleeping and eating right? That is a good question. I have not read spiritual books when I was stuck in a dark place. When I am stuck in a dark place, I often don't know how to get myself out. But I'm a donkey. And you know how donkeys get out of trouble? They step up. Have you heard the story of the well and the donkey? Little donkey fell down in the well and got stuck. He couldn't get out, and he cried and cried and cried, and finally the his friend came and found him down there, and was so upset and couldn't figure out how to get the donkey out. And finally, in some kind of fit of insanity, the guy started thinking he would just cover the donkey up in the hole and started throwing dirt in. He's crazy. It's not my story. I didn't make this up. Starts throwing dirt in, and of course the donkey is hysterical and realizes he's going to die. And then he does it. He steps up and down onto the ground and mashes the dirt beneath his feet. He steps up again, and it happens again. And as the dirt is coming down, he keeps stepping up. And he gets the hell out of that well. That's what we donkeys do. We keep stepping up. And yes, I love to do the mundane earthly stuff like sleeping and eating right. Actually, to tell you the truth, I haven't been doing much of either sleeping or eating right. I'm doing not enough sleep, which is making me tired and crazy, and because I'm having too much fun doing stuff. And I'm not eating right because I'm having too much fun doing stuff. But when I do eat, I make good choices. Here's another question. How do I keep my own spiritual practice from becoming another thing I feel like I have to succeed at, especially when I'm already feeling down? I don't get that feeling. All these questions I'm answering kind of in the same way, and I'm afraid it's going to sound like this is the way I always answer questions. But this is another thing that doesn't apply to me. I don't feel like I have to succeed at things. I don't have a driving instinct to succeed. I have a driving instinct to make number one happy. I know that sounds unlike me because I am a very caring, loving person. But I believe in the saying about the air mask. You put your own air mask on first. You need to take care of number one, or you're not going to be any good for anyone else. Now, here's some more questions. If I were talking to a friend who felt like their mental health was ruining their spiritual progress, what would I tell them to stop being so hard on themselves? What a hard question. If I was talking to a friend who felt like their mental health was ruining their spiritual progress, first I would need to understand from them what they meant by their mental health is ruining their spiritual progress. I don't think that spiritual progress can be ruined. I think it's like the rain. It's going to come, and you're not going to stop it. And when spiritual progress is meant to come for you, you're going to get it. How do I personally balance that feeling of trusting the universe with the need to actually show up for my human life and health? I don't. I am not a person who is good at balancing that. I do not take care of my health as well as I should. I trust the universe to do what's right for the universe. And that may be everyone loving each other, sure. But it's not always going to be in my favor specifically. It might be in my favor where I can't see that it is. But trusting the universe. Yeah, I trust the universe to do the right thing. And I'm not always going to get my jollies from that. It's not always going to be something that I recognize as great for me. If we are all one, how can I show up better for myself when I'm the one who feels disconnected or broken? You have to reach out. The best way to reach out is to help others. By reaching out and helping someone else, it will help you. When I look back at my darkest times, what role did my spiritual beliefs play? Did they help me get through it, or did they make me feel more alone? When I look back to my darkest times, I was not thinking of spirituality. When I hurt myself, I don't know who's watching this, so I'm not going to be graphic about things. But when I hurt myself, I did not think about God. God never occurred to me. I feel safe with God. I feel that God knows when I'm mentally incapable of thinking of Him and won't hold it against me. I don't think God holds things against people anyway. I think He forgives. What do I tell myself when my brain is being unkind that actually helps shift my energy rather than just manifesting the problem away? Going out of myself and finding someone to help. What are specific grounding things that work for me when I feel my head is in the clouds or in the gutter? I take a lot of naps if I can. When I'm overwhelmed, I nap. It helps me to relax. And again, I have to say, what do I tell myself? I tell myself to go help someone. Helping other people is magical. It does wonderful things for you and the other person, and you will get things in return. I'm not saying that to be greedy or Machiavellian, is that the word? I'm not sure that's the right word or not. But I'm not saying them in that way. I'm saying them in a positive, happy, look, I brought you flowers, and the other person says, well, isn't that a coincidence? I brought you some candy because you're such a good person and you do everything for me. Things like that happen. It has been 13 minutes, which is the longest I have had a talk. And so I'm going to let you go. This is Kathleen Byram with Spirituality with Donkey, number 4. And I want to tell you about my book before I go. Conversations with Donkey, A Bipolar Journey, by me, Kathleen Byram. It's available at Amazon for between about $4 and $9, although it lists for $23.99. It runs between $4 and $9 usually. It's also available at Barnes & Noble and Walmart online. They'll probably charge closer to $23.99. And if you have, and they'll probably charge also, if you don't have an account with them, they may charge shipping and handling. Anyway, that's my book, and I would love for you to check it out. If you go on to Amazon, it will have a good sample there for you to read so you get an idea. Always read the very first page, because that sets the tone of the book. And you might not understand it so much if you don't read the very first page, the small introduction. And that's enough for now. I'm going to let you go. Thank you very much for listening. See you next time. Bye-bye.